also oh, yes. They changed that on my face.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. I've got my co pilot in the seat next to me here finally. It was a long week without you, Steven. Big Beat, how we doing today?
Tell ya, we did a lot of cool things here at Quasar Markets. We won the award at Benzinga for the FinTech for AI Research Platform of the Year. This is the second year in a row. Was the Bloomberg headquarters. I was on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange for Schwab. I had lots of events to go to, and look, the buzz is hot. But there are some market trends out there that I saw firsthand. Look, the world is not slowing down. Hotels are very busy right now, and I think the Thanksgiving season is going to be very popular. Travel over the weekend from New York was really still pretty steady. I think you'll start to see a pickup there. So this could very well be the biggest season. And I'll tell you, Amazon had lots of things to sell, including their Echo, their own brand. So that raises margins for Amazon. And I was in the Apple store down in near Central Park, the big one in New York City, and it was fairly busy. It wasn't like Jammers. It wasn't busy, 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 but it was busy enough. And I'll tell you, I think you're going to see a very busy. I was in Bergdorf Goodman, and I was also in a lot of the department stores, including Macy's. Believe it or not, Macy's at Herald Square was very busy. They've got new things going on in there, including a new holiday piece in there that's brand new. And I think the shopping season's not going to be bad as we think. I think the numbers
No, first
before.
first sign of that is Bed Bath or Bed and Body Works. They
Yeah,
had earnings this morning and have taken off after that, up almost 20% on the day here.
yeah, agreed.
I mentioned a little bit earlier to you, it is earnings day tomorrow for our
Yeah,
retailers. You have Burlington Coats, Macy's, Dick's, Kohl's, Abercrombie and Finch, Best Buy, Nordstrom's, and Guess all reporting earnings tomorrow. So, do you think we're going to see them? What, based on what you saw in New York, based on the fact I saw on the news today that we're expecting about $650 per American that's been interviewed so far is what they're expecting to spend on Black Friday. So that will be interesting. Have to say for me, I'm like already done with everything. It seems like Black Friday moved up to the middle of October, between Amazon Prime Day and Target Week. No joke. I was going over with my wife over the weekend and we're like done. Like it's over.
yeah.
on
No,
you
and you're
know.
right because one thing that it's interesting is the consumer confidence. I spoke about that on Schwab on Friday. Nicole asked me 3 times. Consumer confidence seems to be the new number that everybody is interested in, and I agree with that. How do people feel about the economy? And I'll be honest with you, November the 6th told you a lot that people are
I was
not happy with the
just going to
economy.
ask you that. I saw Brian Williams on an interview with Seth Meyer, who called for a complete reset on the Democratic Party. And
Yeah.
more, my takeaway there is what he said is that disconnect that the party had between the working class American and what they felt the matters in the economy, and that is inflation and the cost of goods, what we know, and to what mattered to the Harris team, which was where NASDAQ's sitting. So, we saw that in the election, like you said, and I think we're going to continue to see that sort of play out, right?
It's interesting. Flying home yesterday, I I'm getting asked two questions from the flight attendants about interest rates, right? They're concerned about inflation again, right? And it affects everybody. And I said this last year that we would only have two rate cuts and be right around 75 basis points, 50 to 75. I think I said 50. Here we are at 75. I'm a little confused on that first one, because inflation is rearing its ugly head again. And you've got a president coming in, POTUS-elect, that is not wanting to see rates get cut. He wants them to stay the same so that banks make money. Totally understand that, and they maybe keep inflation down. Totally understand that.
Does that
And
change at all with Scott Bassett? Because, I saw rates dropped as soon as that announcement came. So, does
Well, let's
he?
see. He's going to be Secretary of the Treasury if he gets approved. But Trump has been approved, and he will be the president. And Bissett will be told what to do, no matter what he thinks.
Okay.
It is what the president wants. And in this situation, yeah, it'll be Trump wanting to keep rates fairly high. Remember, he loves the banks, and he loves crypto. So if interest rates are high, people aren't happy. They're going to move to crypto. you know, you saw the dollar falling here from, I mean, God's high last week was over 107. Now we're back
108.
to, yeah, 10. Oh, wow, really? I must have missed that. 106.65 again, right? So to me, the dollar's coming right back down, and let's hope that continues because we don't want a strong dollar. And last week, I picked up those yen and francs that I'm going overseas, right? And I took advantage of that strong dollar there. But I think we might be hitting the top there for a little while.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We got Stephen Flanagan in at 10 o'clock, our currency expert. He's got a little bit of a different view there. He still thinks that the weakness over in the ECB is going to continue
Mm.
to see a flight to the dollar right now. So we'll see how that plays out.
We're hearing reports now from Axios that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to terms of an end to the conflict.
That's
That's a
great
big
to
deal.
hear.
Yeah.
That should help markets also. Markets definitely seem to like the announcement again. As soon as Basson came in, the 24/7 trading spots that do QQQ and SPY saw almost an immediate move up. So it was positive to see that. Do have some
Gold dropping,
pretty
yeah,
big
gold
movers
dropping
so
back.
far this morning. Like I said, Bath and
VIX
Body
dropping.
Works up over 20%. Another one, Clairvite, on their they weren't on earnings. They're up 8.3%. Robinhood, all of the crypto stocks, as you mentioned, we are seeing a flight there into crypto. Two things I have for you. Your boy, CEO Schwab, was on the other day and did say that that Schwab will add crypto to their trading pairs as soon as regulations allow.
Good, excellent. That's
So.
what they should be doing. Yeah, I'm seeing oil dropping here now. It just almost dropped a complete barrel here now on the back of that news. So a
Man,
dollar a
they beat
barrel.
me
So
to it. I was going to ask you if it was time to make a short play on oil after it had crossed across that 70 and even, I think, above
there
71.
it is, 70.11 now, 70.08,
Yeah.
70.06. Yeah,
So that
that
news
was
in the
that.
Middle East seems to be
Hey,
buoying
look,
it.
that's
And
what
they're,
happens, man. You keep up the news. Yeah, I like it.
yeah, things move quickly in that way for sure. Seeing most of the market green so far today. We talked a little bit about Bitcoin. Still can't get above 100K. They just get right to the edge of it. There's a huge sell wall still sitting right at 100K. but we've been consolidating, and I think we're going to consolidate. I said it. I didn't think we would make one. It would happen very quickly for the last push. In my opinion, we're at 100K, whatever you want to call it. 98 to 104 to me is all the same difference. But we can't break that psychological hurdle so far.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not too concerned about. Wow, there we go. Wow, oil still falling, dumping heavy, 69.80 now. Oof,
I have to
the
talk about
tension
MicroStrategy in the
just pulled
news.
it up. Yeah.
And they have announced that the first buy from that new convertible bond offering happened. They got in at 97,800. So he's not scared, right? I mean, that's the ultimate, as I put into our Slack channel. Michael Saylor ain't scared at all.
I heard a couple of times people say, "Well, why is he buying at the top?" And I'm like, "Well, I heard the same thing when he was buying at 55,000. I heard the
Yeah,
same thing when he was buying at
absolutely.
35,000, right? I heard the same thing at 19,000 when he was buying. Yeah, he doesn't care what the price is, to be honest with you. He knows it's going to, in his mind, to a million. And what does it matter if he's buying at 95 or 97 or 91 or
Yeah,
85?
like he's gone through it. It's just it averages 24% a year. If you don't try to time it,
Right.
you just take the
We've said
yearly
that a million
win, and
times on
he
the show. Don't
doesn't.
time this. Yeah.
It is an interesting one because it's funny, you can't argue with his success, but I also look at it and say, man, there's some times he could have timed the market a little bit, and it wasn't that hard to see if he'd done that. Just think about what the profitability of MicroStrategy would be. But
Yeah.
like you said, he's afraid that he's going to miss the next pump up, and he doesn't want to miss it.
Yeah.
His version is a lot longer term than most people when it comes to that stuff.
Gold dropping quite pretty heavy here from 26.67, 26.60. Dropped about $3 so far.
Steve, I don't know if you were listening last week, but I actually went in on a play on gold. I had seen our man Peter Thomas, who I know you're interviewing next week from AU Secure, sort of Quasar Markets gold and metals expert. Talk about it was a good on the pullback down to that 25.60 level. I got in there. I got out at 27. Surprised by that one, I bet, huh?
Yeah, no, I think gold is, well, a couple things going on. As we go in the holiday season, people do buy gold in the
Yeah.
holiday season. But we've also found that several countries around the world have found more gold deposits. So it will put some more depression on gold prices up here. But I don't think so. I think Peter's right. I think we just keep going. The buyers are still buying it. Foreign countries are buying gold. I don't see gold stopping. I mean, you saw it a little bit now with the tensions easing here in the Middle East with Israel and Lebanon. But remember, that's just one country with with Israel.
Right.
Israel
Oh
has
yeah, we
several
still got
countries.
the big
Yeah, still got
Iran is what
Syria, still
matters.
got
Yeah, Iran.
Hezbollah,
There's a lot.
Hamas.
Yeah, there's a lot of countries that don't necessarily like Israel, so they definitely still it's not out of the woods by any means. Just drop below the 50-day MA here on gold. That's interesting. Let's see if it can hold back above that. Uh, on there. Silver has been not as volatile as the other two, still sitting at about 30 and a half. It's ranged in that 10% range between 30 and 33. Wasn't able to make that move you were looking for back above 35 where you thought maybe we could
Oh, I
see
still
its
think we
next
are.
run up, but um you trust in this rally here this morning? My mind is
No.
in these type of markets. These are the fake rallies. Beware. Don't get me wrong. I think we could have a hell of a day today overall, but these are the ones you want to play pretty close to the vest. And
No, I mean it's a shortened week with Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday and half a day on Friday, which you and I won't be here on Friday. But third, look, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, shortened week. People are already traveling now. I saw
right.
that yesterday. There'll be even some more travel tomorrow, but the real pickup of travel will be on Tuesday and Wednesday. Look, there's not any much news today. Tuesday and Wednesday we'll have consumer comments a little bit here, but the truth of the matter is not really.
Yeah, doesn't volume usually just drop off to nothing on by Wednesday, if I remember from my
Correct. It does.
Prosper
Yes.
days?
Uh-huh. But you gotta be careful because
Yeah,
sometimes
well, and I was just about to ask though. It also is usually a week earlier in the calendar. So are we worried
yeah,
because Friday is expirations, monthly expirations?
correct. It is, yeah.
So
And the
there could be
options aren't going to be able to pull.
lower retail trading and more institutional. That could be a heck of a weird day to watch, huh?
Yeah, I just had a long chat with all of the options guys in New York, and they're excited. They look, the talk of the town was one thing and one thing only when it came to the markets, and that's trading 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
It is coming, no doubt about it, and they're all
Yeah.
prepared for it. The exchanges are getting ready for it. I don't care what anybody says. We are going to 24 hours a day trading,
Absolutely.
or
You see,
some
I mean, it's
variant
already
of it.
available. It's just a matter of they're not going to lose that money. You know, what it is they wanted to see when, TD Ameritrade was one of the first to get in there, IKBR, Robinhood opened up little tranches, and they saw that there's demand. We've seen it through Bitcoin, right? And through crypto. So without a
Well, the
doubt,
demand is
Steve
not just the
Flanagan's been
U.S.
all about
market.
that we're gonna see 24 hours. He feels, and one of the things him and I were talking about on Friday was he does see and think that the technology that crypto uses is going to get adopted, slowly into those markets, because of the fact that it is proven itself. Whether Gary Gensler agrees or not, it's proven itself over the last 10 years to be a
He's gone.
resilient and strong market and way to do it. And the one that hurt us more
Well,
than anybody on that is
here
actually SPF because he was the spokesperson for
he
using the
was.
way that futures are done in the crypto market in the US. It was all over the hill. It was actually moving towards that. As you know, ARCA, which is part of the New York Stock Exchange offerings, is a digital version of the stock exchange that is available 24/7, almost 24/7,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
moving that way. So not surprised.
Yeah,
What
but the
else
key
did you
here,
hear in New York, Steve?
hold on,
That's
hold on.
always such a great place for what's going on in the financials. Did you hear anything from the big banks? Anything else there?
Well, the key here is not that we're going 24 hours a day. The key is trying to pull international traders into our markets. That's what they're looking to do, right?
Oh
So that
wow.
when China's trading, that money will start to flow into us, which has been we are the biggest market, right? And people
Yeah.
are very interested in the U.S. markets more than their own markets a lot of times. And it's about pulling their accounts because they don't want to trade at 3 o'clock in the morning and get up and see what their
Oh
Apple stock
yeah,
is
my
doing, right?
brother-in-law was an analyst for Japanese stocks for a company, in the U.S. And yeah, he got up and traded at 3 a.m.
Right. And they don't want to do that. They want to
Yeah.
be up at 9 a.m. and trading our stocks, right? And taking advantage of our lower liquidity. But eventually it will all balance out. And eventually it'll just be
I
completely.
just, man, it's going to be interesting. It all works out, like we said, the market adjusts to whatever is put in front of it. It doesn't care, about it. You might see short-term changes.
Blew through
Wow, gold
69 now
continuing to
on
kind of
oil.
drop down here.
Yeah, oil continued to sell off here, and so is gold.
Yeah.
So maybe this peace thing. Intel and Commerce Department is now nearing their $8 billion CHIPS Act grant. So Intel is about to get their money.
Oh yeah, they
For
uh they did say they cut a little bit of it down. It was about 8.5 billion down to 8 billion, a little under 8 billion, but it's good to see. And I can tell you again, talking to our boy Ted and hearing from his folks over at Treasury, they are moving in a rapid pace to get out the CHIPS Act money, and it will all be out in the next 3 weeks, from what I've been told. All of it will
And
be done.
$8 billion compared to what we spent in Ukraine. I mean, we should have spent more in Intel than in Ukraine. But yeah.
Hey, listen, it's a start. Let's hope it continues. I like to see it.
Wow. Here's some good news. AMC got 4.6 million moviegoers they watched so far with Gladiator 2 and with
I want to go
Wicked.
see it, man. They've got me. I'm not a big movie. I love watching them. I love watching them in the comfort of my home. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people. But Gladiator got me ready to go. I'm gonna have a busy movie week myself this week. Hey, buy
Okay.
your AMC stock because the little one we got Moana 2 coming out, so we got to take her. And then I do want to see Gladiators, and I do think it looks awesome personally. Okay, as we're getting close to the open, I did take a look at what was moving today here, Steve. SMCI, do you think it closes the gap finally here? Does it
Yeah,
start?
it
I was
does. I
looking at it,
think.
it's coming up on the 50-day MA. I have it up on the screen about 38 bucks. I'm one of those people that on this one now, in my opinion, on this trade, you got to either wait for it to get rejected or wait for it to break through that 50-day MA here.
Yeah, I mean, Um, for me, SMCI was an easy win. We're seeing anything that gets beaten up and creating a gap is getting filled. Another one, MSTR. We saw that the other day with the Andrew Lepp Citron's silly comments on MSTR, and right back up that one went. Look, anything that's got a gap is being filled. There's just too much cash on the sidelines.
So
The
here's a
highest
question for you,
level, not.
Steve. I didn't have you last week, and it's already moved up a little bit on me here, about 5%. But Target was one that I said, again, my family, they can't go 3 days without going to a Target. So, earnings, I know they had a miss. It wasn't as good as people want. But Target, Walmart, Costco, they're the biggest players in that market. Is this the
Yeah,
time?
but the problem to me is Target has missed the target, pun intended. They've said this. They know that their guidance was really poor. I'm not a big fan. The winner in all of this is Walmart. And I've said this: Sam's Club is winning. Costco is winning. It's the bigger box stores that are doing that, and Target didn't move into that. They didn't move into the big box store. If they did, I think they would be in a lot better position, right? And they're not. If you want to do that, if you want to look in that perspective, to me, it's Kirkland, right? I think that Kirkland is the key because that's KIRK,
Yeah.
and Kirkland's up almost. If you want a cheap stock and you look into that, KIRK is up 3.7% this morning. All right,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
10
that
minutes
is,
out of
and
the
for those
open.
that don't know, that is Kirkland's private label provider.
Correct. Yeah.
My problem is their profitability is terrible because Costco beats the living crap out of them.
Good Lord, gold is now 26.46. We've dropped almost $50 an ounce here.
Wow.
We must have hit all the algos this morning. VIX now at 1474. We're really low here now.
Yeah, VIX really dropped down during the weekend. Steve, I know you wanted to talk about natural gas up 7.47% here today.
Yeah, nat gas. Let me tell you, there was one thing I noticed in New York after living in Florida: cold and rain. The weather is crappy. I mean, listen, snow before Thanksgiving. I've said this is going to be a cold winter. I've said this back in the summer. We're starting to see that now, and it's look. I continue to say it. The world's changing. The weather's changing, and the world's trying to protect, to heal itself, but it's getting colder and colder, and it's getting sooner and sooner. It's getting hotter in the summers and colder in the winters. That's just it is what it is. And it's very expensive. And heating home in New York is not cheap.
Nope.
And in the East Coast, and natural gas is what they use. UNG, if you're looking for that play, nat gas, but 320 it could go higher, right? And for me, that one there, if you want to make the big play, is, and we all know that every year is Con Ed or ED. Right now, Con Ed sitting at 98.36 now.
You can
But
see UNG still below the 200-day MA, though. Do you think that finally breaks
correct.
through that trend?
That's right, and that's why I'm saying I like UNG here. I think we could push right back on up. Yeah. I like it lows down here. The last time, the thing about UNG is if this big storm comes in, it's a popper. It just
Right.
it's a ripper, and it will rip to 4 or 5 in a heartbeat. And what you want to do is play things that are like ultimate or ultra plays for natural gas. And when you see those kind of things, you take them off that day, right? And because nat, you're always buying nat gas for the futures market, right? You're always buying the futures, and right now the futures are not telling you that yet. I think people are mispricing UNG.
Nice. So also today on movers, we've got Palantir continues to move to the upside here, 64.35. Looks like it's going to challenge its all-time high here at the open, be above 67.19 here. Doesn't seem like it wants to slow down when it comes to Palantir.
Remember when everybody hated on Palantir? I've said this a million times. It's a misunderstood stock. They did something very cool. I talked about this on Friday on Schwab. That look, they're doing something that's interesting. They're doing what Bush asked people to do back during 9/11. That's the FBI, CIA, local police departments, sheriff departments all get along and share their data, their news. They're bad boys out there, and they're doing that now. And they're putting AI right to it so that we can find those people faster and move that data faster. And find the terrorists. And guess what? Palantir got all the contracts to do that for the government, and that's a big, huge contract that will suffice them for a while. And they're doing some really cool things, and that to me tells me everything. So look, Palantir is the next Nvidia to me.
Wow, next NVIDIA. There you go. Another one. I was surprised today. A little some.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of companies aren't going to do well. The vaccine world. We know that RFK Jr. might possibly be the HHS secretary, or FDA. Either one of those would be really bad. So, vaccines work, people. I don't know how else to say that. Science works. But if that's the case, then he doesn't want fluoride in the water and doesn't want, you know, vaccines don't work. Okay, it's silly. Um, so that's hurting the vaccine stocks. So think of it like Pfizer and Johnson and Moderna and
That's
Novo
why I was so
Nordisk.
surprised they're moving up today.
Yeah. Well, you have to look at stocks that are still in the losing weight world, because those companies are doing very well. I understand Novo Nordisk now has a pill that's coming out. They don't do the shot anymore. That's awesome stuff for a lot of people, right? And that's really worked for a lot of people, including myself, I'll tell you. And I saw it over the weekend as well, and I've been reading about it, that people are eating less. And guess what else is happening that I saw a big article on with that? I saw an article of people that are wasting food. People that are on the weight loss drugs are still ordering the same amount of food, and they're wasting it, right? They're not eating at all because they just can't. And so that's becoming a massive problem, and I think you're going to start to see that in restaurants. And we've been talking about it for a while, right? I mean, Cake Cheesecake Factory up another 1.5% today. I mean, that's been a winner all the way for the last. I mean, I said it for the last year that these companies will do very well, and they have. Um, but French fry companies aren't going to do very well.
All the Mag 7 up right now nicely. Tesla up another 2.71% here, 352. 362, excuse me, 14. Nvidia just went green on the day. Amazon up about 1.1%. Carvana up another 2.64% here.
10-year now 4.293 now percent. We're seeing some slippage now in the 10-year.
Carvana looking to open up at a new all-time high here, 266.20. So we are seeing a decent amount that are close to their all-time highs, and if not close to it, they've blown through it. Mealy back above 2,000 here, Steve.
I mean, what big gap, and the gap get filled. So that's pretty much what's happening.
I saw our man Warren Buffett's starting to make his
Pizza, pizza, pizza.
his
I mean,
plans for the future for his money and so forth. He
yeah,
is selling a large portion of his or converting a large portion of his Berkshire A stock into Berkshire B so that it could be
correct,
distributed into family funds for his children,
correct.
and sort of
Of
changing.
which he said back in the day that he would never give them more than $1 million each, and told
I mean,
them
that's
what
what I
to
was going to
do.
get to. So a couple of big changes there is, when he started this in 2006, he was going to give all his money to the Gates Foundation. He's now sort of changed his tune. It doesn't seem like him and Mr. Bill are as close as they used to be. He's going to give that money to a bunch of different family funds now, not all to that foundation. And he's changing the time frame, and saying that it will be completed in his kids' lifetime. Now, his kids, by the way, are 67 and 71 years old. So I do want to point out that they are not spring chickens, so it doesn't add, it's not like they're 20-year-olds and this now adds 80 years or, something to that ballpark. We are 1 minute away from the open here, 1 minute away from the open. QQQ is up almost 0.8 of a percentage here at 505.79. We weren't able to get to that 509.89 that I looked at last week that would, close that gap. Does look like we want to do that here this morning. So let's see here if we open up, close that gap, and see a
Tick
continuation.
dropping
What
here.
and do you think we see that continuation, Steve, or are we going to hit this 509, 510 area and drop back down?
It's just for me, there's not enough volume here to today, but I am looking at things. I'm not seeing anything that I have to just do yet. So I'm watching today. I don't see anything I really want to play here. Maybe Tesla again. I don't know.
I will say we are open. Here we go, everybody. Let's see what these first couple of ticks look like here. Slightly positive, and I say slightly 17 so far. There we go, plus 180 here on the tick, plus 263. Seeing a little bit of a slide to the downside at the first open here. QQQ's first few ticks moving to the downside. I am still in my covered call on Mara. I will be looking here at
SMCI
that
now
today,
7.5%.
and then MSTU, I am still in my position there. So both of those opening up nicely green here for me today. Mara, just because I don't have much upside left in that covered call, might look to take some profits here today on that so that I can reallocate that money. Don't want to, keep that money tied up for another penny or two. You know what I mean?
SMCI here now up 7.6%.
Looks like
So
Bath and Body
0.8.
Works getting hit a little bit here.
Tick
Robinhood
now
moving up,
300.
continuing to move up here now, up 7.63%. Robinhood caught a little bit of a bid. Does look like
Humana
it's going
up
to sell.
5%.
Yeah, like I said, the healthcare is moving up today in
Yeah,
general.
we're seeing really big buys here in SMCI here.
Tick now up almost 500 on the day. VIX moving down to 1487.
All right, I just bought let's see. Not yet.
WTI rebounding a little bit here, trying to get back above 70. See what the DXY is
All
doing
right,
here.
I'm in SMCI at 36.50, pretty heavy here. I'm going to try to take some profit here in a quick move here.
We do see first moves here
36.60.
this morning are to the downside on the DXY. Okay,
Oops.
Bodyworth giving back a little bit of profit here.
And I am out of SMCI there at 36.70. Yeah, so 20 cents there on 3,000 shares.
UNH now up 1.23%, trying to move here.
36.80 now on SMCI. 88. Oh man, we're still pushing there. 36.90 now on SMCI. Look at that. Now up 11% on SMCI.
BBIO punching a couple of the. You got a runner here a little bit. BBIO up 27%. If it can break through here, there's 29.99. Watch for it to run here. BBIO, one of the runners here this morning, moving up pretty well. NBX.
Tick now flying here now. It's tick now up 500 here.
Tesla
Nasdaq
giving
Dow
back up a little bit. Tesla dropping back below 350. Oh, no, it bounced at
Dow up
359.
almost 500 here. 450 now. Oof. Boeing is up 1.64%, 151.60.
Alibaba bouncing back after dropping last week, up about 2.04% here. Nice little move to the upside. Does look like Best Buy, and again, I said earnings tomorrow. They're up about 4.5% in front of those earnings here. So moving up, interesting one because 50-day MA is just above it here. This is one that I was looking being interesting going into earnings here, right at the 50-day MA. Constellation Energy up about a little over 2% here this morning. CrowdStrike has earnings tomorrow up about 1.25% leading into that here. That one has pretty much filled, if I'm not mistaken, it actually has refilled completely the gap from that bad news. So again, another one that got beaten down 200, now back at 375 in a matter of 2 to 3 months. Delta Airlines up 1.44% here.
37.17 now on SMCI. I got out a little too early there on SMCI.
John Deere up 1.72% here. Dollar Tree up 2.97%. So market just anywhere you look, it's pretty green here today. Things down that I'm seeing. VIX down, Bitcoin down about 1% to 97K right now. Gold, silver. So we are seeing commodities, oil, all taking a little bit of a hit here. Cocoa is up about 1.79%.
It's cold. People are drinking coffee, hot chocolate. I heard a lot of talk over the week about Arabica coffee prices going higher here over the winter as well.
There you
Look,
go. I don't like to
we're
hear
seeing
that one. I
drop.
need my coffee. We'll say
Bitcoin
all
is
11 sectors right now in the Spider Select sector funds
Bitcoin
are
dropping below
positive here.
92.
All 11 sectors. These are the days I think where you might just see a little bit of a run here. Let's see what we get.
We're hearing reports now that, yeah, discussions now about sending French and British troops to Ukraine now.
Oh, that can't be a good thing. We're going to send the French into war? Oosh. Rut's up about 1.61% here this morning, too. So seeing a nice move up there by the small caps. Dow Jones up over 1%.
Need to turn Bitcoin around here. It's really struggling at 97,000 handle here.
Yeah.
Whoa, the tick now 683 now.
683, yeah.
Woo!
So I said it's just everything moving up when it comes to the stock market. Also
Advanced coin
seeing
line
fear and greed
5,000.
factor has moved way up into greed here. It had been in fear for the last couple of weeks, so
Yeah, I
definitely
mean, let's
moving
be
up.
honest. This market is way overbought, and we're gonna see a rug pull, and it's gonna be nasty. We're seeing a halt, quite a few halts coming in here. QMMM, PDYN.
What do you say? QMMN?
QMMM, three M's.
Yes.
SANW, a seed company. Trading has been resumed on Kodak, KODK.
This one's interesting. QMM does look like it wants to run here. Right
3707
at
now, SCI.
161. This is an interesting one. This is right at the high of the day. This should open up and move way to the north side here pretty quickly here. What's its chart look like here? Oof.
44 million shares have also traded hands, so there's quite a few shares there on market cap of
I would
13
definitely,
million.
this is one I might try to get in on here. Let's see what we got.
The Goldman Sachs Z score is at the highest ever. It seems to indicate it.
2.3, yeah.
Just saw that number pulling up here. Oof. QMMM should come off a halt here in a second. Are you looking to play that one?
No,
Takedowns,
I'm gonna
Rob.
hold off. I'm gonna hold off. But it definitely looks set for it.
The bid and the ask is 161 to 162. So it's not quite, yeah.
If it goes, it's gonna go deep though. This is one that has a pretty good risk reward because of the fact that it doesn't have a lot of move. MSTR looks like it's getting hit pretty hard here this morning.
Yeah.
Down about 2.4% here now. So this one's been battling out. Just hit lows of the day.
I kind of like MSTR here. $409 now.
Yeah. It's got downside to 372 though, right now.
406.64 at the lows of the day.
QQQ now up over a point here. So moving in the right direction.
Why not? Let's take a swing here at MSTR. I think I like this bottom here. I am now in MSTR by cheers 410.99. So didn't get the best fill there. All right.
It's right at 410 right now.
407.60. Pop there in Bitcoin, I think we'll be okay.
QMM 177, 179 here. It did move.
Yeah. I had a feeling that was where it was going to be.
It looked like it. It just, I had my stuff allocated elsewhere right now. 176, 177. Now if it breaks that 180, watch for the $2 mark pretty quickly there. Trying to break that 180 here, having trouble. Seeing some selling.
I'm going to pick up a little bit more MSTR down here in the bottoms here. I did. There we go. 402.74 now. Okay, 403.13. So that's good. Run those numbers here. Oh, still going. 274 plus 14.99 plus 14.99 by 3, so 408. I'm in a 408.24 there.
Okay.
Ooh, 402. We'll let it. Still seeing some selling here in Bitcoin.
Yep. QMMM back at 159 here. So did it make that run? Looked like it was. I wouldn't give up on it. This is one, if you were in, I would be in it still. Down towards that 130 level is where I would have my stop loss on that. MSTR, like I said, you still get downside to 375 here, in my opinion. You got to watch for.
403.55. Come on, baby. 403, 404. Let's go.
See if it can break to the upside here. Bitcoin back below 97 here, 96,500. So Bitcoin continue to drop down below the support that we saw last week. So it is below a stop level. I now look at downside towards 25,800 there on Bitcoin. 25,800 is our next stop on the way down, in my opinion. Money definitely flowing from crypto into the equities here this morning.
I have an order in to sell
QQQ keep pushing
MSTR.
here. 410, 510, 511. So it did break through the spot I was looking at here. Now it's a question is, does that turn into back into support here? I'll be watching to see if 508.97 now, can we hold above that 508.97?
407 on MSTR, 407.33. I'm almost back to even here. Come on, baby. Push it up. That's all we need. A little bit of push in Bitcoin. There we go. 407. Come on.
It is bouncing up. $407, 407.25. It's trying. It is a volatile one, that is for sure. Micron up 3.23% here. Nice little move there on MU. Neo, I saw, got a downgrade today. It is down about 3.31% after the earnings miss last week. Saw a downgrade there. On upgrades, you see Procter & Gamble got a nice little upgrade. Steve says that stuff is picking up in China for them.
Good. Tick now pushing up here of 378.
Procter & Gamble up about 1.16 on that. Had been as high as 178.80. Now at 178.33. Seeing Path, PATH, which is UiPath, which is a software company, up 4.41% here. Planet Labs up 6.41% here. Another one that has been a runner a little bit lately.
Just need Bitcoin to stop here. 96.4. The selling here is pretty rough.
SMCI now up at 36.70 here, up 11% on the day. Snap up 4% on the day. Snowflake getting some love after earnings last week here, up almost 5%, 4.99% after gapping up on their good earnings here. So continuing to see a continuation to the upside. We'll point out Snowflake's an interesting one for me because you still got upside all the way to 237.72 or so to get back to its all-time or its 52-week high there. Tesla getting a little bit of a pullback here, especially right now, hitting lows of the day at 353.87. UNH Healthcare again moving to the upside, 1.87%. Walmart, yep. Steve brought up a little bit earlier. We'd seen the nice moves up last week, holding those gains nicely so far towards its all-time high of $90.95 that it hit again earlier today. So Walmart, another big box brand. Steve is a fan of. Costco being the other. Costco is up about 1/4 point today, and again, another one very close to its all-time highs. As we mentioned, a lot of the stocks that are moving in the solid direction are real close to all-time highs. FedEx getting a nice little push up today, Steve, 1.21%.
Got to move this product around, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Foot Locker up about 4.5% here again. Retail has been moving up on the news of Bath and Body Works, good earnings reports and guidance. As you mentioned, INTC, Intel Corporation, announced that they are close to getting their $8 billion from the U.S. government. CHIP Act up about 4% today. Be interesting to see what it does when it hits sort of the spot it plateaued at. Last time we heard news about the CHIP Act about 15 days ago at about 26.35. So I'll be looking to see what it does as it approaches. In fact, I'm going to put a little.
Who is selling Bitcoin right here? Who's the idiots? I think
Let's see
what's
what
happening a
goes
lot of
here.
times, and you're seeing it right now with Bitcoin, is that I think the liquidity is where the searching out the algos are searching out the liquidity, and that's all they can find.
Yeah, I think people. I also, yeah, I mean, retail doesn't move the market that much, but I think retail
No.
did move out of Bitcoin today and back into the stock market. I think that you're seeing that,
Well,
again.
dumb money always does move first, so
Yeah.
that's
Retail, all those retail stores I mentioned that are going into earnings tomorrow, all looking real solid today. JWN, which is Nordstrom's, up 3.27%, again going into earnings tomorrow. Kohl's up 5.81%, moving into earnings here tomorrow. Levi's up 4.23% into earnings here. So again, all of them seem to be moving up nicely on that news. Melly now at 20,057, Steve. Definitely continuing
2000.
to see itself move back up.
We're gonna lose 96,000 here again.
I said 95.8. TLT is seeing a nice little move up, it looks like here. TLT up almost 2% here today.
I'm gonna stay
And
long
again, we're
here
seeing
on
every
the
sector still up in the green so far here this morning. All 11 of the Spider funds are up.
Wow, Nat Gas pushing here now again, 338.
Your Ethereum
Almost.
moving up nicely here today, Steve. 34.50 and up 4% on the day. Nat
Yeah,
Gas, like you said, up 8.9% now on the day. Does look like SPY and QQQ have slowed down for sure. Both were up over a point now. Both of them back right around 7/10 of a percentage point up. WTI has regained 70, so that early morning switch into equities, seeing a little
hearing
bit of
reports
that
that
being sold off here.
Larry Ellison will have a significant ownership position in Paramount, according to CNBC. PARA. Wow.
I told you I'm a big fan of Paramount. You said you were too. I think they do a great
Yeah,
job.
absolutely. I like Paramount. I think they're doing a good job. I get Paramount through Amazon.
Yep, same. You can see they've been unable though Paramount to get above that 1122 200-day MA, beating it down. So another one
QMMM has been halted once again.
on the way up or down. Let's see. On the way down though, 142.
Yeah.
So it halted last time at 161, made the run to 180. Now moving back down. Let's see what it does. It could. That one's interesting because now the question is that as I pull up the shorter chart here.
So close.
Yeah, anything above the
95.85 now
1122.
on Bitcoin. I think we're starting to hit stops now. That's what's happening now. People are getting stopped out, and I think they're doubling down on their shorts now, and it's picking up. But I think they're gonna get creamed, to be honest with you. BlackRock and these companies are they're just buying up Bitcoin. Yeah, MSTR now down almost 8% on the day here.
Yeah, it's definitely a momentum one that you don't want to be on the wrong side of.
Of which I am. So
It it does this though every morning, Steve, if you look at it. So I would,
I'm okay. Life's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, we're still seeing more selling though. 95.7 now on Bitcoin. I think it's oversold now.
So here's the spot. We're at the line in the sand. Any drop below this brings 94 right into play pretty quickly here. You'll start to see, because now what you're seeing, Steve, is the edge of the liquidation bands pick up. So you got that quick a little initial burst for people that were over. Too long, too leveraged. They got closed out. But now that you see more selling faced against it, it does seem like this is a concerted effort to move into liquidation zones on the perps here.
There you go. 96,000 popped out there. Just what I thought would happen. I
There
thought
we
it was.
go. Let's go. If it drops
Yeah,
below that, you got a lot
there
of
you go.
downside.
26,000. Boom. 250 points. I had a feeling we were oversold there. Look at that. 96.
It's.
I'm not too scared here. I think we go right back
I'm
up.
not scared at all. I'm not in a trade. So, I mean, I'm in my long-term stuff, but that's totally different, and I don't.
I will stay. I will stay long on what I'm on the MSTR. I think
Yeah,
this
and
solid.
again, yeah, I fully expect MSTR to continue its upward momentum. It might pull back here for an hour or two, but
390.
it's going to
Already
come
back to
back up.
93 already. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not too
it's
worried
going to
about it.
do its thing. Like I said, it sees sell-off all the time, and it recovers.
394.50. Come on, baby. 395.
Good news is there isn't a huge amount
397. Look
of
at
sell
that.
above it, so it
398.
should move up nicely. Once it breaks four, it usually is a psychological one for it. So let's see if it can get above that. That would help. XRP down about $1.40, did make a move all the way up to I think $1.55 I had seen on XRP. $1.63, excuse me. Dogecoin down about $6. Our boy
And
Elon's
Bitcoin
not
really
doing enough.
cannot hold above the 96 handle there. It just cannot hold it.
Yeah, definitely some sell pressure. We're gonna see it.
Come on, baby. Let's go. Let's
We
run.
got,
398.
you got to give the shorts their day too, right? They gotta eat once in a while.
399 again on MSTR. Let's get back over 400. 400. There it is. 400.08.
I will mention one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on here today. TSSI. Dell is one of the only tech stocks that has earnings coming up this week. I've talked about this TSSI just recently. Wow, it's up 8.25% today. Um, they recently joined the NASDAQ. They were an over-the-counter stock, and that gave them some heavy volatility, and they dropped way down, consolidating in the zone. But they basically, when big companies go and buy their Dell computers for their data centers, they stop right down the street at TSSI, is who builds them out all of their connectors, cables, and stuff to build those ones here. So this is one that I am definitely a fan of, and that I could look at as a sympathy play or a different type of play versus Dell. Partly because it's $8 for this stock versus Dell's price, which is right now at 146.21, up about 1.4% on the day. So I definitely do like TSSI there as a longer term play here.
403, 404.50 now, 405.50 now on
Told you when it
MSTR.
breaks four, it likes to blow right through that.
Yeah, but we're not seeing it in 406. There we go. All right. 406.60.
Nike getting a little bit of love today.
Mr. Bill Ackman over there, Nike. 407 now on MSTR, 407 and a half.
I wonder though, is AMC moving today on that news, by the way, that you had? I did not look at it. Up about 5%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean, even I'm going to the movie theater this week, and I haven't been in a while, so yeah.
Tell you what, AMC looks priced for a pump right here. Looks pretty good at this 479. Oh, that's the hour chart. Oh, that's short-term chart. Sorry. See, it's trying to hold right at that 479. Move up here. It could be a nice move back up to $5 pretty quickly here. It's not a bad little move on AMC from 480 to $5. Definitely looks like it's poised for that type of secondary move here. It's going to consolidate a little bit here, but it's holding above VWAP on the 3-minute chart. You like it in general here. If I can see it retest VWAP and hold to the upside here, could look for a short-term play on AMC up to $5 without a doubt. It's coiling up a little bit here. I like that. NVIDIA now down almost 3% on the day, Steve. A little surprised by that one.
Yeah, not everybody's gonna get a Christmas present for an Nvidia card this year. The Nvidia card is a little too expensive.
Yep. I would say, though, that gets interesting again if it comes down towards this 50-day MA for a nice little bounce off of 134.75 here. Could be a nice little play for it to move back up.
STR.
MSTR struggling, can't hold above 400, huh?
Yeah, it's struggling. I'm okay with it though. I
Yeah.
like it here.
I'm in an MSTU trade. I'm in a 2x long on that.
95.2 now on Bitcoin. Another dump there. Hmm.
Yeah, as I said, you got definite downside to about 94.3 here on this retracement. Would be about the spot I would look for. That'd be a one-on-one retracement from the move it made up on Thursday.
402 again on MSTR.
Tick now negative 200 or so here.
Come on, MSTR. Let's go.
We do have our main currency expert coming in here in a few seconds. Let me get him on the screen. We will drill him on everything.
A nice little pop there in Bitcoin. Look at that. 95.8. Look at that 600-point move. Wow. What is going on there?
What Bitcoin does, buddy, you know that.
Been watching it a long time, man. The
That's
move
why I don't get.
here.
That's why, like, I don't. None of this concerns me. It's just, again, healthy to that 94 level. I'd actually like to see it do that. Then I'd get in for a nice little BTCL, the 2x long on that.
Tick down over 400 here. Tick down 300 now.
Okay, let's bring him in because money moves first, and nobody knows more about it than our man Stephen Flanagan. Mr. Flanagan, how you doing today?
Doing good, guys. Good to see you back, Steve. I hope you enjoyed your New York trip.
I always do. I'm in New York quite a bit, as you know. It was interesting. A lot of talk in on the floor of the exchange about the dollar yen and how that move happened. And you were right about the dollar pushing higher there. But it seems like Trump's pick for Bassett has put a little damper on the dollar. What do you think?
Definitely, Steve. I think because his focus is going to be, as most of these cabinets, on China,
Yeah.
and that puts Japan off to the sideline. And the yen is a great buy up here. And I think
Mhm.
that you had mentioned that that's what you wanted to do, because you've got the threat of Bank of Japan above your head.
Yeah.
So if we look at the Secretary Treasurer select, what other currency has suddenly started to rally? The Mexican peso,
Yeah.
because if the focus is on China, then everybody else says, "Woo, maybe I could take a deep breath here."
Yeah.
And my line for today is, what goes up must come down. You can't have these type of moves. We're so overextended. Look at, as you've been talking Bitcoin. I mean, if that goes to 80,000, wow. So what's the big deal?
Right.
I mean, you can't have something that moves as fast as it moved not have a significant retracement, and that's healthy for the upside move that everybody wants.
Well,
Steve,
what if you say that there's just not enough liquidity out there for the Bitcoin? There's not enough on the exchanges for people to buy.
he's talking to
You know
you,
what I mean?
Mr. Flanagan, not me. Uh-oh, we just lost Steven. There he is.
Can you hear me, Steve?
You
He
know,
fro
I think I have a pretty bad connection here. I'm going to call right back in if that's okay, guys.
Okay, we'll see Steven
Yeah, I totally
coming
agree
back.
with that. And look, he's right, Howard. But when I say to you is, what if I tell you there's not enough liquidity actually on the exchanges, and everything that's getting dumped onto the exchanges is getting eaten up pretty much, right?
It is. Again, I just think that it's pretty quick moves though. We've seen some pretty big moves of inflows come into Bitcoin, into the exchanges. It hasn't really moved down as much as you would think that it would. Um, based on the facts. Hold on one second.
Can you hear us now, Steve?
He's muted on my side. Hold it 1 second here. I
I, I
gotta
can
enter
I
him
can hear
back
him. So
into
let me
this.
ask you, Steve. I think your video's off, but the
That's
question again back was, what do you say to the people who, like myself, who say there's just not enough liquidity on the exchanges to buy the Bitcoin that you got to pay up for it? Mm,
Limited.
right.
So these moves up are being accentuated by not only low liquidity, but this is a very immature marketplace where a lot of shenanigans go on,
but
um, in front running and things to that
I
degree.
would say that it's cleaned up a lot in the last 2 years.
Yes, it has.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially with ETFs and now some Fed regulations coming in here. I think it's not as bad as it used to be. You can't just 100x stuff and 300x stuff
That,
anymore like
that,
you used to.
I totally agree with you. And now, you're beginning to see reverberations of talks about a central bank coming into
Crazy.
the crypto space. And you know, any of the regulatory environments that begin to establish a framework of operations will be a very positive thing in that market space.
Agreed. Yeah.
absolutely. Mr. Flanagan, what do we think about our new Secretary Treasury and how that will affect rates as we've talked about? It seems like rates took a little bit of a breather here as he got his, nomination, whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to take a little bit at odds. I do think interest rates are going to continue to come down, probably now a
Hmm.
0.25% at a time, but it's not so much a U.S. centric thing.
Right.
It is more that the rest of the world, we have Canada GDP coming out this week. I mean, that's probably going to be on the low side. We already know the Europe and the UK were very low. So I think that, it's more a factor that the rest of the world is slowing quickly and the US has to stay in lockstep. Otherwise, we're going to split at the seams in the financial markets with the dollar just roaring on the upside.
Right.
The dollar index hit, what we had talked about as a stretch high, 108.1020.
Yep.
We got to 108.07. It's time for a pause. I think the US is going to have to stay in step here. But what I did want to highlight to you guys was the earth shattering news last week was Christine Lagarde's comments.
Right.
This week, over the weekend, you had the leading candidate in the German February snap elections, Merz, begin to talk about the adjusting the debt break in Germany,
Yeah.
allowing Germany to suddenly create a budget deficit. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. When you look at it from that perspective, one of the things I heard over the week was inflation, 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 and that Trump does not want to lower rates anymore. And, regardless of what Bissett wants to do, Trump will still be the president. He'll still be the one that kind of tells Bissett what he wants, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be the way the entire cabinet is setting up. You know, and if you look at a lot of the corporate businesses, that's the way they're all set up. You have someone at the top that simply barks out the guidelines or commands, which everybody then executes, and that does pose an efficient mechanism. But I don't think that the U.S. rates are coming drastically down. They're at 4.75 now. It's possible over the next 6 months, maybe to see a 4% handle. As I talked to Howard last week, plus or minus 4% is probably the base that you'll see, but it's probably the ECB that has to get down into a 2.5% rate. And the Bank of England's going to be following probably an aggressive stance too.
But what if I say I don't think the rates come down? I think the rates stay where they are because honestly, inflation is still rearing its ugly head.
This is another one of these bumps. The hard part of inflation now is ahead of us. How do you get to 2%? Okay, will they accept 2.5, 2.8 as an okay guideline? I think they're going to have to.
Right.
Oil coming back off here on this potential peace accord. These are very positive effects to inflation, as oil is such a huge component of it. But Steve, I mean, it's possible 4.25, but I think that the U.S. is going to have to, in a coordinated manner, which they've been in ever since 1984 when they did the Plaza Accord, and they've moved more and more to this. They're going to have to stay coordinated with the rest of the central banks in the world.
Okay. All right. Bitcoin 95,000 here. You still think we're going 94.8 there, Howard?
Oh yeah, yep, I do. I think we're going to see continued sell-off. We're just seeing it across the board here on the crypto side. We're going to see a little bit of a sell-off, a little bit of a breather. People are buying equities, taking some money out to buy their turkeys. Like you said, inflation's in front of everybody. We've seen the estimates that people are going to spend $650 on Black Friday based on CNBC's results. So we'll see. You mentioned Euro. Doesn't look like anything moving in the right direction over there over the weekend either. Still there, Steven. We still see their stocks continuing to get hit here today. Stocks was down when I looked at it before we opened here.
Yeah, I mean 105.20 roughly right now. Resistance is 106.10.20. I look at these type of corrections as very healthy for the marketplace. We've talked about this for the last couple of weeks about, how we felt very uneasy with these one-sided type moves that just, we're higher again today. We're higher again today. This is healthy. I think we're going to see a correction here. The one I'm watching is sterling, roughly around 126 here. I'm hoping we see a bounce up to 127, 10, 20 level, where I would like to look to reestablish my shorts.
Okay, and that makes sense. I can see that right here about the spot from Wednesday the 20th or so.
Yeah, that's right. And, the euro, if you've got the deep pockets, euro's a sell on just about any rally here because, I think that, the magnet of parity is overwhelming right now based on simply the economics of the day.
Right, and for those that don't understand what Steve has been talking about here, it has been, that the euro at $1.49 right now is headed back to parity with the U.S. dollar at $1, and his key point there was 103.358. Is any break below that, look for it to, money moves first, it moves quickest, and watch for that downward knife to break. Anything else on the you looking at any of the U.S. economic data this week? We got a little bit, before the end of the month.
No, that's it, Howard. I think that's a good wrap. Look ahead. It's a short week. Wednesday's the big day with core PCE. Outside of that, I think it's going to be a very quick week, and it'll be over before we know it.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff there. Steve, I see MSTR back below 400 here, so it's still struggling to move up here. I think that, it's at a good support level, though. It's showing a good spot here on the hourly for me. I'm still staying long. I'm MicroStrategy, but I've been in it a little bit longer than you there, so I'm still in a good profit spot on that. Steven, anything else for us before we let you go for the day? Well, it looks like
all good here. I think it's a short week. Let's talk again on Monday.
You got it, sir. We will see you on Monday. Have a great holiday, and thank you so much for giving us that there, Steven. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Big beat. We're back. MSTR back 101.09, man. It is that. I gotta tell you, it's one of those things they talk about is the volatility on some of these are just insane. These jumps up and down happen quickly. What's the volume
I'm
here?
going to stay long. I'm okay with it. I think the sell off in Bitcoin is overdone. It's overcooked. Yeah, I mean,
No, I like it. What I like your thesis there because, like you're saying, we're going to get the bounce back on Bitcoin back up to 98. I have no doubt about that. Over the next
yeah,
24 hours or so, and when it does that, the jump that MSTR normally takes on those moves is accelerated to the upside without a doubt. Do want to mention
yeah.
to everybody, stick around. We're sticking around a little later today. We have Jay Woods, Chief Global Strategist from Freedom Capital Markets, coming on in about 15 minutes here to be interviewed by Big Beat. Jay is also one of the board of directors of the CMT, the best technicians in the business when it comes to technical analysis of all markets. So can't wait to have Jay on to talk to him a little bit more about what we got going on. Mealy here trying to hold 20,500 here. Steve, I think you and I both misjudged that move up a little bit. It kept on going.
We caught the bottom,
I
but
know,
we
I don't get
didn't.
mad, but it's just, man, I look at it, I say, jeez, that was a
You're
move.
looking at the Amazon of Latin America. It was kind of a silly sell-off, and to me that was just too easy. So yeah, 403 now on MSTR. Come on, baby, let's go. I
Like I
think we
said,
can.
it moves the right way. It just takes a little while. MSTR when that momentum builds, man, it just moves. Nvidia still getting hit here, now down at 137.21. Anything here you start to look at, Steve, as a maybe a scalp move?
No, I'm leaving Nvidia alone for right now. I think Nvidia's a little overbought, and I think it'll come back down. But listen, I think Nvidia is still one of the strongest companies out there. But they're just a little high right now for me. Let them come down a little bit, but I still think we're going to 200. I don't have a problem with that, but I don't think it's right now though.
Yeah, I'd like to see that pullback, like I said, to this 50-day MA, even down as low as 132.37 or so would make me real happy for a nice little entry to the north
405
side
now and a
there.
half there on MSTR. We're good. It's trying to get up there.
Tesla now at a loss. So a lot of these pre-market movers here this morning definitely taking a little bit of breather, people taking profits. I do think that people are a little bit spooked, Steven. Do you have that feeling too that I see people
Yes.
taking profits quicker? They're in for the
Yeah, they're
scalps.
nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nervous. I mean, I've called it a rug pull here, and I'm saying 15 to 20% rug pull. It's going to happen, and I don't. People don't want to hear that, but 407, 408 now, right there. There it
Yeah,
is.
told you, told you.
I just
SMCI 38.25 here now, up 15.23% here. Did break above the 50-day MA here, so another one that I now, if I see that retest that 50-day MA hold up, SMCI could have its next leg up. Its next leg up would be towards that $50 area here from that 38. So
wow.
again, not one that's done even after that move back up, in my opinion.
I was,
mRNA, Moderna now up 7.39% on the day, Steve.
and I am filled on MSTR. Getting out of that. Whew. Yeah. It was pretty obvious that we're going there. Did get filled a little bit of profit, not a whole lot, but a little bit. I held on. I thought that was where it was going to be. 408.50 is where I had my sell at. So, whew.
You sweated that one out. I am still in it. As you know, I'm in it as a swing trade, not as a scalp. And I'm actually in the too long from Mr. Tuttle there.
For me, it's all about what Bitcoin does. I think MSTR is a cheaper version of it, but I think if you want to go premium to NAB on that, I mean, there's obviously MSTR is a big premium to the NAB of Bitcoin, but MSTR also, believe it or not, actually is another company. It actually does sell
Right. Yeah,
software.
and there's a few parts there. Is you and I were talking a little bit earlier. We both said we wanted to look more at what Michael Saylor said on CNBC because while that is the case, he was pointing out the 0% interest they're paying on their convertible bonds, and
Correct.
he made he made our boy on CNBC, who is the Bitcoin skeptic himself there, look pretty bad. He basically said, hey, listen, we're up $50 million on the buy on the buy this week alone.
Yeah.
So it is, it's an interesting one because of the way that what he and I guess that is the explanation, but I have to look more into it, so I'm not just saying it off of this. But basically, he's using what Stephen Flanagan talks to us about. It's when the Mexican dollar is cheap versus the U.S. dollar. Investing in Mexico is a better deal than investing in the U.S. right now. The way that Michael Saylor's explaining it is the fact that they're investing in Bitcoin and using that is he doesn't have inflation hitting him. And is
Correct.
basically what he was
He has
sort of
no
working
inflation.
around, and the fact
He's
that
better than inflation. That's
yeah, and
right.
the M2 supply and how that continues to go up.
410 now on
That's why I
MSTR.
say, man, I'm not scared, Steve. Can you believe
Good
the
job, Howard.
That's what I said. It's you got to be in these. You got to have strong hearts, and you got to have a thesis, and that's what you always have. That's what you've taught me. That's why when you ask me about Bitcoin and you say, hey, it's at 95, can it do this? Yep, it can. I expect it to, and I want it to. These retracements. I want to see a healthy market. What I don't want to see is what we saw back in 2020 or back in 2017, where we
Oh
just
yeah.
overshoot it and then that inevitable retrace is 50%. In other words, give me a good, healthy 10% move down on a 40% move to the upside all day long,
But
Um,
the difference then was Bitcoin wasn't a proven
no, absolutely.
commodity.
But that's why I do think it's going to retrace. I think that we're going to see that sell off come. It does happen. We've seen it. It's like when Nvidia takes off and everyone says it's never coming back down, and what it ends up happening, it ends up coming down. What is the catalyst that makes it get there can change day to day. But these things just play out over time, and that's what's going to be great. We're going to ask Jay Woods about that when he comes on, because what I've definitely come to learn from you, as much as when you start out as an investor, fundamental investing being so important, understanding that technical analysis, history repeats itself, and that we see these things play out over time and time again. That's why the Wyckoff is out there. That's why there are these people that have made millions and billions of dollars, right, on proven strategies, because we just see that these charts don't lie and they do matter. Bitcoin at 95 215 here, so it is holding up pretty well. Ethereum's holding up that 3400 handle. I like to see that. Seeing WTI though can't hold above 70 here, Steve.
Yeah.
That
One of the stocks that I looked at this morning was Cassava Sciences, SAVA,
Yep.
missing on that trial for Alzheimer's, and is now closing the trial on Alzheimer's. They were 411 now, 33 now on MSTR. That's sad because I had a lot of hope in Cassava Sciences, but it looks like they weren't able to do it, down 85% today.
Wow.
I can't see myself investing in Saba now at all. But yeah, there's a lot of hope there, I think, for them. And I don't believe in hope and luck, as everybody knows here. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a tough one. Sava, I remember we traded that a lot during COVID. Um, yeah, man, that's a tough place to come back down
Kalshi
at.
now says that the odds of Bitcoin touching 100,000 before December collapsed from 88% to 36%.
I could see that because what you're going to have, I mean, what we're also going to hit, Steve, is we're going to hit all the weak hands have bought in. So this is where you have to
Correct.
be worried, because this is where the retail trader that was assured by Uncle Billy that it was going to go up 25% is now like, what happened? It went down 5%. I need to get out
But
of
I
this. It's a
think I
scam.
think Uncle Billy's going to be talking about Bitcoin at Thanksgiving, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. That's why I think it could. That's when I think you'll see the next move up. Personally, we've seen those Thanksgiving bumps, right? Over
Yeah.
the years, without a doubt on Bitcoin. In fact, if we take a look at that,
Nat gas 335 now on the highs here.
I want to say it was in here. Where is it?
Somebody just bought some big calls here on MSTR. Woo.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, MSTR is trade. Their options are traded more than the S&P almost right now. It's
Mm.
insane the volume on MSTR, and that's what everybody's playing. Yeah, here in Thanksgiving at 23, we were trading at about 37, shot up to 45 by December 6th. So this is what I'm sort of looking at as a repeat here again.
Helidoc is popping here, up 9% here. TDOC up 9%.
Wow. Tick up 390 here. So we're seeing momentum return. QQQ had gone basically flat on the day, now up 0.28%. So moving back up a little bit from the lows of the day. And it does seem to be catching a little bit of momentum, 343 here. So seeing a little bit of a, this is usually have been our slow time, this 10:30 to noon. So this is a little different. Let's see what we get here. Maybe people are trading earlier today. People starting to travel. Mara now back up 1.27%. Like we said, you got these 411.87, 412 on MSTR, Steve.
Yeah. I had to sell at 411.50 and I took it down to 408.50. So
It hit your spot. See, your thesis was right. You didn't trust your thesis. That's it. That's it. You, as I tell the little one, you go sit down in that corner. You think about what you did. She tells me that more than I tell her. That's her favorite things that she tells me. She's the little one will say to me, Hondo, you go in your office and you think about what you just did.
413 now. Wow,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, I missed that one.
Like
That
I
was
said,
on the right
just,
side of that. I get nervous. I mean, it is what it
hey,
is.
we all do. And you're not used to
Oh,
trading them. MSTR, what you got to do is that you've got to look at it like you're trading options on SPR, SPY. I
I've
remember
been doing it
back in
for
the day
33
with
years.
you in COVID, you'd be scalping, open options on, not zero DT, but it was same week DTAs you were doing and killing it. That's
Yeah.
the view you've got to have. You got to be like, if I've got my thesis, this is where it can hit. That's what it's going to hit. And if, don't get me wrong, if it goes below there, you've got to have a stop ready to go. But I mean, I
But look,
called out those
I've been doing
Bitcoin
this
ones
33
pretty.
years and I still make mistakes. I mean, that's just the key. And if you're
Yeah.
not making mistakes and you need to add up, and I always do. I say when I do them, but look, that's just part of it and growing up with
No,
it.
and that's it's the same way I gave you those numbers on Bitcoin. It hit almost to it and then just bounced up. You can see downside. You can see where it's got. It made its measured move back. Now it's at its support. That support at 94 looks like it's real strong right now. So that's good to see. That now becomes a key spot to keep in mind as things move on here on Bitcoin. But it is moving up back nicely, 95, 680, 670. And again, I did say we're going back to 98 in the next 24 hours, so you can hold me to that one. I'm writing it down on my sheet of calls. VIX still at 1481 here. Tick up almost 500 here, Steve. So we are continuing. And what's really moving today is the small caps. And again, I saw it talked about a lot on CNBC the last week or so. In fact, I saw an interview with Jay Woods, who we have coming up, who was saying it was ripe to pick up the rut. It was at about 2,400, 2,300 when he said that. It's now at 2,455, so we'll have to ask him a little bit about that move. Does he think it's getting extended here, or is he continuing to watch this the upside 52-week highs on RUT, the rut?
Yeah.
Affirm up another 5% here and headed towards 52-week highs.
417 on MSTR.
Nice. Amazon up 1.4 here now. Abercrombie and Fitch. All these retail, man. Now I'm getting nervous about these retails that are all taken off in advance of earnings here. I'm going to warn people. I'd be a little bit nervous for a sell the news event. We shouldn't be pumping up 7-8% going into earnings on these. They are doing it based upon the fact that the first of them to report this morning was Bath and Body Works, and they did have a huge earnings beat. And we do see them up now 17%. But I get a little nervous when we see that big of a move to the upside. Robinhood up about 5% here, Steve, today. Another one that is catching a bid for sure.
All right.
Delta Airlines now up 2.68, Steve. You were flying this weekend. Is flights full?
Flights are full. Flights are full.
DJT back down around 30.
MSTR is a little bit,
1.79. MSTR 415 here or so. MU up 3%. We'll say we have seen the energy sector now move negative on the Spider Select funds. All the others are still up.
What is going on here? $96,000 again on Bitcoin there. That's probably why MSTR is moving so far now. 419 now. Dang it, dang it, dang it.
Amazon now up 1.56% in the day, so we continue to see moves to the upside here.
You get that, Howard?
I did. I just responded to you there also and let you know that that just went out. Mara now
Yeah,
at 26.55 for me, up 2% there again. I am in
420
a
now on MSTR. Dadgummit.
MSTR 420 here, 420. You had the right feed. Hey, listen, Steve, we say we don't beat ourselves up, right? You still got out at profit.
Might be beating myself up today on this one. I was so right on this, and I totally missed that. Yeah, so
Yeah, but we don't do that here, right? We
423. Oh my God.
yeah, I can see it because as I look at my account, it has moved nicely positive here for the day between the Mara calls and being in MSTU, the upward play there. Positive on the day. Love to see it.
Nice, nice profits on the day already. So I like that.
Absolutely.
But with my bigger accounts, pushing up, I do feel that I'm going to take some of my own advice. Look, the Dow up another 500 points. We're about to hit 45,000 the Dow again, and all-time highs. And to me, this is it's just astronomical. A pullback here is definitely overdue.
Absolutely. Micron at 105.86. It's having a nice day here. In general, chips outside of NVIDIA looking pretty solid. The two big ones, NVIDIA and TSM, both getting hit here. But ASML up nicely, 1.75%. TXN up 2.97%. Qualcomm up. So we are seeing a nice move up by all of them. Intel up 3.39% here on the day now, Steven.
Yeah, yeah. Intel getting their money, that's a good thing. That puts them in a good position. MSTR might actually go positive on the day.
Steve, any interested in monolithic power systems here on this resurgence? We know another one that had got hit pretty hard, about a month ago here, I guess, or actually, yeah, at the beginning of the month. Now seems like it's regaining that 600 level. I mean, this was trading back in the 800 level here just at the beginning of November.
Yeah, I don't. Monolithic power is a little bit different. I do like that drop. You're getting at a discount for sure. I don't even know how far, but you have to go back way back there, I think, even to get that one. Gosh, yeah, back in April.
Yeah,
But there's a reason why, right? And the earnings were not great. Wells Fargo giving them equal weight. nothing special there, right?
Yeah, I noticed no
So
one. Yeah, it's not jumping out. No analyst is kind of look at it. Will say I did see a lot of analyst reports came out. They're working hard here trying to get ready for their holidays, I guess, because I
yeah,
saw two, four, six, 8 upgrades today and about 30 downgrades. Some of the downgrades I saw were Neo, Five Below, Tenant Healthcare, HCA Healthcare, Expedia. They actually I saw a downgrade on. On the upside there, we did see, as I said, PG, Procter and Gamble, Elastic, which had the great earnings in the move up last week. ESTC had a nice upgrade today. And you can see they're up about 4.76% here on that. Snowflake, another one that I talked about a little earlier, just got an analyst upgrade by Guggenheim.
Jay's saying he's trying it on 3 different platforms and nothing.
Really? I don't know why. I mean, that's the same link that everybody else. I'll send it again. Tell them I resent it again there. Sorry about that. I just checked the link worked for me, Steve, off of another computer.
96,000 broken again to the downside. Just really struggling there in Bitcoin.
Yeah, definitely struggling here. 95,907 now, 95,8. Can't seem to catch the complete bid here and make its move
Bond
back
market
up. Can't
dropping
break
quickly.
VWAP.
Money is moving back into the bond market here, interestingly enough. Rates are dropping. Dallas Fed manufacturing coming out at minus 2.7 versus minus 3 prior. Still negative there in manufacturing in Dallas.
Yeah, that link definitely takes me back in, Steve. $95,700 trying to hold up here. Bitcoin trying to move back up here. I'm going to put us on a hold here right now, everybody. We're going to go to we'll be right back screen while we try to connect and figure out what our issue is here.
All right, I'm gonna drop off. So grab Jay.
Yes, I can.
Sorry about that. I don't know why that link didn't work for you.
It's
I
all right.
apologize.
We're in now. That's what matters.
Okay, give me. Welcome back, Quasar Markets Live. So happy and proud to have Jay Woods, Chief Global Strategist for Freedom Capital Markets, with us today. Jay, how is your day going so far?
My day's crazy busy, but it's good. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, market it tried to make a move. We've been watching Bitcoin, of course, here pretty hard over the weekend. Seems to be losing some steam here. QQQ, I actually was watching your interview on CNBC a couple of weeks ago and was watching the rut. I actually followed you into that trade at about 2,300 there, looking real good. So I got to ask you at
Mhm.
24.59, are we a little overextended here, or what are you thinking?
No, I mean, yes, we just made a new high in the Russell, so congrats. Took forever. Been calling for us to hit those new highs all year. We could see a little consolidation, but the Russell's the most frustrating trade in the world. When I always use this expression, when it comes to the party, it freaking rages. And we're up 9% month to date coming into today, so now over 10%. And we've seen this party before. It happened last October to December. So we're in that same time period. We're rallied over 20%. We get a breakout. We should see a little algorithmic momentum come into the name. So I would skim a little here, seeing that it is the first resistance level. Let's see where it closes today. But I think there is tremendous upside over the long term here in the small caps. It's just they're so freaking boring. And yeah, I do like the trade. I've liked it for a while, and we're finally seeing it happen. So buckle up. It should go a little higher from here. And hopefully, when it does pull back, it pulls back to these levels where it broke out above, and that becomes a new floor.
Absolutely, that's what we're looking for. As I was mentioning with Steve, Steve was a little upset with our move on Bitcoin, and whenever it goes down, I get blamed specifically for it. I'm not quite sure why, but I was
Yeah.
looking, and for me, I'm looking for healthy retracements here. Right, you got to set up some levels. Those of us that watch the charts know that you just can't go up straight forever, or you come straight down forever.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, we're. Sorry, I have my other computer behind me. I just want to see what Nvidia is doing because I haven't looked today, and I've only been asked 3 times. Oh, breaking 140. I don't like that. But yeah, I mean, you talk about retracements. You talk about stocks that pull back. I look at Nvidia. I look at Palo Alto Networks that had made tremendous runs, had earnings that were pretty good, and they didn't take that next leg higher, frustrating a lot of the fundamental measures behind it. But then you have to put it in perspective, especially in Nvidia's case, up
Yeah,
177% year to date. Last year was up 200% year to date after the first 6 months, and it paused. It went sideways. These are normal things. So you look for where are the breakouts, where are the consolidations happening. Been pounding the table on IBB, the biotechs.
yeah,
We've seen similar patterns there. They're part of the small caps. That hasn't broken out. We did hit the regional banks, both the KRE and the BKX. So we're seeing pockets that have been underperforming starting to break out. You want to see some interesting ones. Look at the Zoom video, which reports tomorrow or
yeah.
today after the close, I
Today,
believe, ZM. Stocks that have been beaten down long rounded bases and are starting to turn. We saw that with some of the buy now, pay later names. We saw that with Carvana a year ago.
yeah.
But these stocks have room to run. Fundamentally, I mean, when you talk about Zoom, it never left our lives. But they're starting to normalize their billing cycles, still expand into other global markets, and the stock has room to run. Maybe it's running ahead of the earnings. I don't know, but and then look at ARK, Kathy Wood, RKK.
Yeah.
ARKK. In fact, some of our ARK funds have already broken out. You want to talk about long bases and have room to run? They're starting to come, but you know, we call the tertiary stocks. Some people call them the trashy stocks. But there are great technical setups and breakouts that should have follow through, and people have kind of thrown these out, forgot about them, but they're coming back. And to me, that is a little sign of frothiness on one hand, but at the other hand, it also goes to the rotation theme where, okay, these big mega caps that always stolen the spotlight, they're on pause right now,
Yeah.
and they're consolidating. They're not going down. There are no bear markets out there, but people are putting money to work in where they think there'll be opportunities, and that's what you kind of see at the year end. What will we find going into 2025 that has been beaten down, that has a chance to come back? My two favorite sectors are all both in the technology space. IGV, which is software. You look at some of these software stocks, and IGV, which has Adobe and Salesforce, which looks phenomenal, CRM. Um, these, if you put this on a weekly chart, oh my God, we're talking textbook breakouts and just starting to move. You have targeted levels where you can see an upside of 20% in your sleep. There it is. That's my favorite chart. I put that out on Twitter today. I should put it in blue sky. That's the market there. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, this should, it's getting parabolic. It should pull back a little bit, but you're looking for entry points where the move is just starting. You're not going to get it on the breakout. If you do, congratulations. And, some people should have if they have their buy stops in place. But we should flag a little bit here. And this would be a good entry point. We saw it in utilities that are continuing to flag.
Right.
So to me, the market continues to rotate. Money's not coming out of it. It's moving one spot to the next as people look, in some cases, in the meme phases, look for the shiny
Absolutely.
object of the day. But I look for the bigger basket of stocks, the ETF, where within this ETF, there's some ideas that aren't working. Intuit had a bad week last week, and
Absolutely
that's
did.
not looking too great. But Salesforce.com, Palo Alto Networks, they're in there. Adobe, these are names that I like. So always try to buy the basket, think longer term, and then break it down to smaller term time frames. And then when you look at the Kathy Wood stocks, she rotates that so frequently that I don't know what the top 10 holdings are anymore. I know she got out of Nvidia on the low. I do remember that. Never got back in.
And the same thing, she
She
sold
does own a
Coinbase
lot.
at the low also, but she did get back in on that
Yeah,
one.
she
So
did.
she has hit
Yeah,
that. I
she got
gotta
back.
ask too. I think tomorrow in for a letdown. I'm looking at all of these retail stocks hit earnings tomorrow, from Nordstrom's to you just name it. They're all out tomorrow. I got Nordstrom's, Dick's, Kohl's, and they're all up like 7% today. What I've noticed is when we see that before earnings on a lot of these, no matter how good the earnings are, we can tend to see a pullback on
Yeah.
these sell the news.
I know when people report, they're like, "Oh, it's down X percent." Yeah, but it ran blank percent going into it, and
Yeah.
make such a big deal of that. Yeah, the retailers are really more of a hit or miss, and we learned that last week when you have the biggest ones in Walmart and Target report in the same week, and they tell different stories fundamentally. You
Yeah.
look at it technically, and you want to be in strength, you want to be in Walmart and Target. You just don't like it now from a mean reversion play. Maybe Target's worth taking a shot. And Walmart's a little overextended. It's up 60% year to date. So you look at the big two there in the box retail space, and it's about who has and doesn't. And the CEO, Brian Cornell of Target, painted a picture that the consumer is very particular. Well, okay, that's not painting in a good light. They're going to Walmart still, they're going to Costco
Yeah.
still. So this particular consumer, you need to address that at your stores. You need to bring them back. And we're seeing that across different spaces within retail, the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
Overall, the consumer continues to spend. The consumer is resilient. The economy is still in an upswing. So the XRT looks good and looks like a great place to be, but you look under the hood, there's a lot of crap in there too, and the XRT is very diverse. So you want to try to play it more from an individual story, and use the charts as your guide, and then the
Absolutely.
fundamentals to solidify what your thoughts are on the chart.
Would you say too that we're now, we were in an everything up what we've seen pretty much. So it's not hard if if you have a bullish bias to have made money in the last month. Do we now turn to a stock pickers market as opposed to more of a an everything moving up, all tides are taking the boat up?
I think we're in a rising tide that's lifting all boats. If you looked
Yeah.
at the 11 S&P select sectors last week, all 11 were up. Do you know what the number one sector was? It was materials. All
I
right,
saw
wait a
that.
second. Materials is now leading the way. Yeah, I mean it's just continual rotation. And then when you think about the seasonality factors that play right now, what managers doing? They're going to chase performance. They're going to look for value. So they're going to find and they're going to dip their toe in some of these beaten names, and they're going to have to put their money in some of the names that have already performed.
Right.
So to me, and I hate the cash on the sidelines. I don't know where they come with these numbers. I hear over $6 trillion of cash on the sidelines. You're going to see people chase performance and then reevaluate their portfolios, and then they're going to see, wait a second, let's look at what Nvidia did the last half of 2023 into
Yeah.
2024. The pattern is almost identical. And then what did it do? As soon as we kicked off the year, it broke out and went on a nice run. Those setups seem to be all over the place right now. And yeah, look at this. Is this Nvidia?
Yeah.
This is very pretty. So it broke out, didn't follow through. Okay, but it's consolidating above the breakout area. These are healthy moves in strong secular uptrends, which we are clearly in. And, once we get going, momentum will come back into the name, and you'll see the stock trading above 150. And when it does, next target's 180. So, will it go up another 100+% next year? I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. I mean, you can't do that 3 years in a row in
Right.
most cases. Even Amazon, its best days, didn't have more than 2.5 years of just ridiculous gains. The first year we made back what we lost. Okay. Second, we had the good gains. We'll probably see the stock up another 25 to 40%, and that sounds like a great year to me. But
Yeah.
you know, is it up for the Nvidia bulls? I don't know. People get a little greedy when it comes to this name, but the growth is there, the story is there. AI is not going away anytime soon. We're just focused more on the software side of things right now, and that's where the momentum goes. So, as Wayne Gretzky always says, you skate where the puck is, and if you're an active trader, you want to be following these software names very closely.
What do you think about MSTR these days? I was listening to Michael Saylor
Oh,
talk.
good God, yeah. Yeah, I got a nosebleed looking at that chart, just straight up. It should. That's a Ralph Pacco line I stole from him. Yeah. It talk about momentum trades. Talk about exuberance and over exuberance. You look at that. If you're in this stock and you have profits and you have not sold any of it, then you better just hit the sell button right now and
Yeah.
hope you're wrong, for the love of God. Yes, I've seen stocks like this continue to climb higher, but as I told a few of my friends who luckily been in the name, why I'm not in the name, I have no idea. But yeah, this is euphoric. We should turn here. Bitcoin 100,000. There's no technical level there. I think Bitcoin can go a lot higher from here, but psychologically, we just had a tremendous run. It's going to pause. It is healthy that it does. And then when you see a candle like this after a run up, take a little off the table. If you want to
Absolutely.
get back in, you may have a good opportunity to do so. Let the moving averages catch up. They tend to do that over time. But yeah, this has been a tremendous run. Obviously, it's all linked to Bitcoin, and then we have let's see where it spikes. We'll name the next SEC chairman. Could it be Dan Gallagher, who is very crypto friendly, works over at Robinhood, and is a
Right.
friend of mine? That would be cool. Or somebody else in the Bitcoin space that the market loves. I anticipate it will be someone in that space, whether it's Dan or another person. I know, but I think there's still more juice to be squeezed out of this trade. But my God, when I look at moves like this, trader of 28 years in me says you got to take a little off the table and kick yourself later for being wrong. That's fine. But this has been a tremendous move, and these things don't go right to the sky all the time. This one is,
Absolutely.
but it looks like that's a little warning shot, that little red doji up here.
Absolutely a warning
Still in
sign
the
right
middle of
here,
the
as he said on the candlestick. And the fact, like you just said, you got to take profits along the way. Pigs don't make money, they get slaughtered. The bears and bulls both make money. And a healthy
And
reset.
congrats if
And
you're in it. My God. Yeah, victory lap.
yeah, no, I've actually been in it.
Christmas is
I've been in their Matthew Tuttle's MSTU on it, which is a 2XL, and playing that a little bit. But again, a scalping, not long term. Look at it, sort of swing trading it. And my philosophy, like you said, is I don't think 100K is the answer. I think it's like 104, and then that's when we'll see that blowback, and that's again for following Bitcoin for 10 years like I have. What it tends to do is it will have it's going to take a lot of momentum to get through the sell wall at 100. Once it does, it will get that little
then it goes. Yeah.
a little bit, and then we'll get that pull back towards that 80K that I do think is inevitable. And talking to technicians like yourself, like Stephen Flanagan, former FX guy at JP Morgan, everybody's giving me the same number, and it's people that have been following Bitcoin for 10 years, and it's people who don't follow Bitcoin but who are technicians, and they're all getting me the same answer. So I think I have to like the consensus there when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry we had a little bit of technical difficulties on our end. You are amazing for joining us. Any last words for us as we head into the holiday here?
No. Take some profits, spend it on yourself, especially if you're in some of these Bitcoin names. But I still remain bullish. I love the rotation we're seeing, and I love how quickly you were getting those charts up for me. I really appreciate that. It makes my job of explaining it to an audience very easy because the picture's right there. You just have to explain the story. So, all right.
Thank you so much, Jay Wood. You have a
day,
fantastic Thanksgiving.
All right. Thank you.